think we are rolling. Everything else quite isn't yet, but the live stream's at least up. I'm not sure what my simulator's doing right now. The goal today was to run through some of the stuff that's going to be in the next update, but it'll be kind of hard to do if I can't show it. I'm learning that I shouldn't try to update a bunch of stuff an hour before I say I'm going to do something like this. I don't even know if it's worth waiting for it to load. I'm going to assume that baseball, football, basketball is my mother. If it's not, I apologize. Well, I'll start running through it. If the simulator pops up, then it'll be in there. It is a bunch of, I'll say, smaller changes in this update. I don't have too many, really any big features in this update. Main menu, I'd gotten a couple of reviews back about the support menu being unclear, which it was. The icon that I was using for it didn't really indicate that it was actually for support. And some of the labels for buttons weren't very clear as to what you were actually getting into for people that were unfamiliar with the app from the start. So some of those were reworked. I updated the, wonder who Ernie Floyd is. Updated some of the labels for those so it's a little more clear as to what you're actually clicking into. Store listings, so the pro page in the shop details out what comes with the pro version. I updated some of the descriptions there to make it a little more clear what was included. Also updated it because in the current app version it doesn't list out match play as one of the features that you get, but that was added in version 7. Whole information in the tournament details view. So there was a bug where sometimes it was taking the pars from the last round in the tournament and using those pars for every single round. I fixed that, so now the pars all correlate with the course each round was actually played on. The global courses list, when you click on it, will now display the location next to each course, so that's a little bit more clear. Entry fee refund. So in the current version of the app, right when I'm done here, the simulator will load. In the current version of the app, if you start a tournament and then immediately back out of it, you just lose the entry fee. So I added a fix in there so that you'll get a refund if you do cancel out. Obviously, if you start a tournament, start to play through, and then just delete the tournament, then the entry fee is gone. Tour Life button will be permanently visible on the main menu. Right now, you have to have the pro version and have a couple other boxes checked before that shows up. It'll be there permanently now. Improve the handling of some ties outside of first place, specifically for users. I can guess Ernie Floyd, but you guys are going to have to throw your name in there. I don't know anybody's YouTube handles. I barely know my own. My room's just fine. What else? Tournament leaderboard, some minor changes to that just to make things fit a little bit better on the screen. In match play events, I thought the AI were playing a little bit soft. So I did that a bit, made it a little harder. Whenever you are starting second, third, or fourth rounds in tournaments, you go to a change course view. It'll let you select a new course to play that round on. That was still in kind of its default design from when I launched the app, so I went in and improved that. Also in the current version, you'll run into issues if you play a course that has 36 holes. That was just bad coding on my part. That's been fixed. there is, when you have a button on the main menu for resuming tournaments, generally a lot of the text is cut off right now. I made it so that now scrolls on the button. So you'll see the tier and course name actually scroll by, just so it's clear which tournament you're actually resuming. And then seeing individual round scores. So now on the round finish page, and then when you go into the details page when you're done with the tournament, you'll still see your whole scores, but now it'll show you what your total score was for each round. Just so that's a little clearer, just because I know I do, and I'm sure other people do. Sometimes you take a 3 or 4 day break in between rounds, and you forget which tournament you were playing and what you scored previously. So that is mostly the extent of what's going to be in the next update. Oh, Aaron, Lincoln, and Jake. Hi, guys. Future updates for the app. So this is a combination of things I've come up with and then things that people have requested. Some of these are things that I'm absolutely going to put in the app at some point. Some of them are more suggestions. I'm probably going to send out a survey in one of my email newsletters to maybe start letting users prioritize which one of these I put in first. A couple things that are definitely going to go in. First one is tee time scoring. So right now, the app essentially scores like a shotgun start where you complete hole one, all of the AI complete hole one, obviously. In a shotgun start, everyone's starting on different holes. In the app currently, everyone starts on hole one, but you and the AI play through the round together on every single hole. So you don't see AI scores on hole two until you're scoring on hole two as well. One thing I'm going to be implementing, which is going to tie into a couple other things on this list, is tee time scoring. So you'll have a set tee time. Obviously, the round's still going to start when you show up to the course. But say you're on the feature card, you're the last card to go out. Most of the AI scores will already be in. You'll have a card of 3 other people that you're going to be playing with. And then you'll play through the tournament normally. You'll still score just like you would. The only difference is going to be that some of the scores are already going to be populated. So that's the intent. Another thing that's definitely going to be added is some rating system improvements. The system is a little rough. It is vaguely based off of the PDGA system, at least the numbers, what they mean. But it's not the most accurate. So I'm going to be implementing some changes to make that more consistent with the information that's getting added in for courses. And then with those ratings, that's going to affect what your tee times are for certain tournaments. So those two things will tie in together. Another thing that's not captured here is sponsors. So in the new update, it's not on this list, but each of the sponsors now actually has a name. And in a future update, those sponsors, instead of just being bought, will be unlocked based on a rating. There'll be a few different tiers, and depending on what your rating is in the app, you'll have a different tier of sponsorship. Renaming the AI. So right now, with a pro subscription, you can buy a collector disc in the app with in-app currency, and that lets you rename all of the AI. This is still largely going to be the case, but I think this is probably a pretty big selling point for the app. I think it's something a lot of people would enjoy. Obviously, for I think some legal purposes, I'm hesitant to go rename all of my AI after pro players. But if users want to do that on their own, just for their own account, then I don't have an issue with that. So I'm thinking about making the first 7 to 10 AI free to rename. That's something that will definitely get added. So we covered those. I've had a lot of requests to add friends to your standard tournaments in the app. So if you want to add a couple of your buddies that you're actually playing around with, just so they can score alongside you in the tournament. Obviously, there's no online accounts right now in the app, so they're not going to get currency on their app or anything unless they're using it on their own phone. But if you have a friend that you want to add into the app and add their scores as well, that's something I'm going to set up. It's been probably my most highly requested feature. I think I've waited so long to add it in just because it doesn't really go against what I wanted the app to be, but it is a very different feature from the intended purpose. Throw with the Pros is kind of intended to be a app for your solo rounds. If you're playing with friends, there's already kind of a competitive nature there that the app doesn't really need to recreate. But I was wrong. A lot of people want that. So I'm going to add that in. Skins format. That's one that I'm pretty excited to add in. It's probably pretty far off. That's not going to be the easiest for me to implement, but it is going to work a lot like match play. So match play tournaments are in the app right now, and it's you head to head against an AI, and you actually see where their throws are landing on the course as you play through each hole. Skins is going to work largely the same, except there's going to be 3 AI on a card instead of 1. For those unfamiliar with the skins format, I'm not going to go through it in depth on this stream. You can look that up. It exists in both golf and disc golf, so fairly common. That will probably also exist as just a standard tournament. I may incorporate that into Tour Life as well, the full Pro Tour seasons. We'll see. What else? Go to the less exciting first. So rework tutorial system. This is another, probably the biggest piece of feedback I've gotten is that the tutorial as it stands right now is pretty confusing. And I agree. I think in large part it's just due to my lack of ability at the time to code something better. So right now the app forces you to basically go through every single feature in the app before it all becomes available. It does tell you where to go. So if you read the instructions, you can follow it, but it is not the simplest. And I think really the solution is not to have a more robust tutorial system, but probably just to make the app more intuitive to use in the first place. So I think my intent is to ultimately end up reworking the main menu a little bit so that there's not 18 buttons on it and it's easier to kind of understand where you're going. And then have an opt-in right when people start the app to just skip the tutorial. I'll end up having a button in the settings where you can go back and replay it and go through each feature if you want the app to take you through it. But I think that if I can make the app more intuitive to use in the first place, and just disable the tutorial altogether, that would probably be pretty simple. So that's on the to-do list. A rival system. This is a rough idea that I haven't fully fleshed out, but essentially having a single AI in the app be your rival. Anytime you're playing standard match play events, it would be against them. They would typically play a little bit better than the other AI. It would be one of the AIs you get to rename, so there would be an added personal element to that. And then there would be some challenges and achievements you would unlock as a result of that system. So that's a thought lower on the to-do list right now. Also kind of lower is this title defense idea, which is essentially tracking, giving all tournaments a name, a category of their own, and then tracking who the last person was in the app to win that, whether it's user or one of the AI, and then giving bonuses for defending titles. That was a rough idea there. So in every division, MA4 through MPO or FA4 through FPO, you have the XC tiers through A tiers. Each of those would have a title associated with them. And then there would be a display case that would probably tie into the existing trophy system in the app, that you would earn and hold your titles. Honestly, it might just replace the existing trophy system. That's TBD. And then the last big one is preset tournaments. So this one I think could be maybe the biggest thing I would ever add to the app if I can get away with it. And I'm not convinced that I could right now, but the idea here is that, for example, I live in Utah. Right now in the app, I can go play MPO A tier at the fort. If I have Tour Life unlocked, I can go play a Pro Tour in MPO at the fort. But it's against, the bunch of random AI. Scores are going to be what they are, but the idea behind the preset tournaments is that I could instead say, I'm going to go play 2021 Worlds. And I could show up to the fort, and I could score at the fort in the last round against the MPO field that competed in that final round at 2021 Worlds. So that would be the idea. Obviously, that would take me some time to implement and would include a variety of tournaments. It could be USDGC, it could be other Worlds tournaments, it could be Pro Tour events, it could be even some A tiers if people request them. It would have a request system similar to how the global courses are set up right now, where people could request tournaments and then they would slowly get added into the app with each update. I think that would be a really cool idea. I could certainly do it right now and have the courses in the scoring match. There's just the caveat of having names of other people, of real people, in the app, which I don't think I could get away with, nor would I want to. So I'd have to find a creative way to get around that. And maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just the typical AI names that I already have, and it's just the scoring and the courses that match. But that was the thought. Simulator still did not load. It's a good thing that I wasn't trying to show anything because I'm realizing that my screen's been frozen, but it does look exactly the same. Except the loading bar is a little bit further. That's it. So, anywho, that is the extent of the list of features that I'm intending to add in the future. If anybody has any thoughts on those, I'd love to hear them. I will be sending out a survey or two in those email newsletters to try and gauge what people would and wouldn't want to see. I'm sure that this is going to be pretty high on the priority list, but we'll see what the response is. Guys are ridiculous. For the first time on one of these, I have live viewers, and it is half of my family. This will be live on the channel and recorded afterwards, so people can come back and see what's going to be in the next update. Favorite place to play in Kansas City? I don't know, Mom. Probably Waterworks. It's going to snow here tomorrow, too. I'm not excited about it. That's why I'm recording this and not disc golfing right now. I don't know how to make a game on MetaQuest. That's above my pay grade at the moment. It's the only time you acknowledge us. I tried to. Yet here you still are. All right. Well, this isn't going to load, so I'm not going to show all of this stuff. There really isn't too much to show. The biggest UI changes would be on the main menu, which they'll be pretty self-explanatory. Once the update goes out, my intent is to submit the update for review later this week. So it'll probably be Monday of next week. I think that version 8 goes live. That is, I clearly avoided adding some bigger features into this update and was mostly trying to take care of a lot of housekeeping stuff. There'll still be a little bit of that in every update in the future. But moving forward, I think each update is probably going to be one of these items down here. Anything else that I come up with or any other requests that I get. But we are slowly growing the user base a little bit. I think we're around 350 to 400 users right now. It's been about a week since I've checked. I think we were somewhere in the middle there last time, but I think that's... Oh. I don't even know what that is. I'm glad it closed. I think that's probably going to wrap it up. Sorry to cut all my family's comments off here. But the good news is that they'll be permanently saved on the recording. That's great. Oh, maybe I'll stick around for just a second and see if this is going to load. We'll give it a try. I'm going to give it about a minute here to do something productive. It's launching. My webcam's covering up the progress bar. Are we working here? Oh, I'm having the same issues I was earlier. The app might already be downloaded on here. I'm updating a bunch of software on my IDE that I'm using to code the app, and that is creating some headaches for me this afternoon. Can't even get the simulator to load. When I started playing disc golf. End of summer of 2021. Or no. 2020. 2020 was COVID. That's when I started playing disc golf. All right, simulator is just completely frozen, so I am going to call it there. That'll wrap it up for this one. Thanks for tuning in, family. Anybody who finds this after the fact, you should still be able to leave comments down below if you have thoughts on any of these items. Otherwise, you can respond on the email newsletters or use the contact developer tool in the app to shoot me an email there as well. But yeah, we'll call it there.